Every week, comic artists unleash stunning masterpieces and, well, less stunning creations. Join me today as we dive into the visual battlefield to crown the cover champions of the week and shame the artistic misfires of the week. This is Best and Worst Covers of the Week for the week of April 16th, 2025. Thank you all so much for checking out Best and Worst Covers of the Week. So glad that you are here. We are going to try things differently again today, as I'm still trying to find the focus and footing on how I want to do this video going forward. Now, usually you have my ugly mug as I go through the best and worst covers of the week. Well, again, much like last week, our offerings are very slim as far as covers go this week. So what I'm going to do this week, I decided, is instead of my face being on the screen at all times, I'm going to remove it so we get a better visual of the covers, and I can give you a better breakdown of why I feel the cover is the best cover of the week or the worst cover of the week. So with that being said, without further ado, we're going to get into our best and worst covers of the week for the week of April 16th, 2025. Let me go ahead and give you full screen view here, so you're just getting the covers. And of course, we start this show each and every week with DC Comics. So first up in our offering for DC Comics for our best covers of the week, we have this Detective Comics 1096 Derek Chew cardstock cover. What I like about this cover is the striking pose, the unique design, and the impactful color palette combined to make this a memorable cover that could easily stand out on the shelf. The design and overall feel would likely appeal to comic fans of action-oriented books with potentially darker themes or characters with a unique ability. I just think this is a very good cover for this relatively new character, and it really puts this character on blast and the spotlight on him with the bat symbol in the background and the blood splattering everywhere. To me, this is probably one of the better covers offers from Detective Comics 1096. And of course, Derek Chew absolutely kills it on this variant. Up next, we have one of the worst covers of the week. We have a Wonder Woman number 2125 Triss cardstock cover. This cover suffers from the static and somewhat awkward pose that's lacking dynamism. The composition feels unbalanced, with the figure blending into the background textures, diminishing her impact. As you kind of see that the background is a little bit more detailed and refined than Wonder Woman herself. While the rendering is competent, it doesn't create a compelling narrative or hook or strong sense of character beyond its generic depiction. Up next on one of the best covers of the week offering, we have this beautiful Clayton Crane Flash number 2. This cover excels through its dynamic composition, utilizing motion lines and a focused profile to convey the character's speed. The vibrant yellow highlights against the dark suit create a striking visual contrast, emphasizing energy and power. The close-up perspective draws the viewer in, highlighting the determined expression and the iconic goggles, effectively capturing the essence of this Flash character. For a worst cover of the week offering from DC, we have Titans 22, this Daniel Bayliss cardstock cover. This cover is visually cluttered and lacks a clean, clear focus point, making it difficult to immediately understand the central conflict or characters. The overly busy composition, combined with the intense and somewhat chaotic background flames, detract from the individual figure and create a sense of visual noise rather than impactful storytelling. This is a cover that I will for sure be leaving on the shelf for that specific reason. Up next, we have this beautiful Wonder Woman 20 Gilliam March cardstock cover. The cover boasts a strong central figure in Wonder Woman rendered with power and grace and a dynamic stance. The composition effectively uses depth, placing her in the foreground against a backdrop that hints at both ancient mythology and modern heroism. With the inclusion of Batman, the soft painterly color palette creates an ethereal yet heroic atmosphere, making it visually striking and narratively suggestive. We have another best cover of the week coming up in Zatanna number 3, the Ji Hong Lee cardstock cover. This cover's greatness lies in this dynamic pose, which conveys both elegance and action, coupled with the iconic magical attire that immediately identifies Zatanna. The subtle use of light and shadow adds depth and mystery, while the flowing cape enhances the scene, the sense of movement and theatrical flair, making this one of the best cover options for this Zatanna book. To another best cover of the week, we have Catwoman 75, this 1 in 25 Lubavitch cardstock cover. The cover's strength lies in its stylish composition, which blends the iconic silhouette of Catwoman with a vibrant graffiti-inspired urban backdrop. The bold lettering and neon colors accents create a visually arresting and contemporary feel, perfectly capturing the character's allure and street smart's edge. This is an offering that any Catwoman fan would definitely love to have in their collection, in my opinion. We have another offering here for worst covers of the week coming in from Nightwing 125, the George Fornes cardstock cover. Sorry if I butchered that. I don't like this cover. I feel this cover is weak due to its abstract and unclear imagery. The fragmented portrayal of a face against a map-like background lacks a strong focal point. It doesn't immediately communicate character, story, or genre, resulting in a confusion, uninviting visual effect. Next up for best cover of the week, we have Summer of Superman Special #1, Alexander Lozano variant. I feel like this cover is stylish and contemporary in its portrayal of Supergirl. It emphasizes her youthful energy and approachable demeanor. The soft painterly rendering and the dynamic flow of her hair and cape create a visually engaging image, while the direct gaze and subtle smile establish a connection with the reader and viewer, making it both striking and inviting. This is one cover that I will definitely be picking up for the cover alone and not just the interior art or story. Along with the same lines, we have this Summer of Superman #1 special, this John Guyton variant. This cover explodes with dynamic energy through its aggressive composition, intense red and green color scheme, and the character's menacing forward-thrusting pose. The intricate detail in the character and his bike, combined with the chaotic, almost psychedelic background, creates a visually arresting and powerful image that perfectly embodies the sense of rebellious action that we've come to know from Lobo. Great offering. Two great offerings on this Summer of Superman Special #1 book this week. Next up, we have our offerings for best and worst cover of the week from Marvel Comics. And kicking us off of Marvel Comics for best covers of the week, we have this Wolverine #8 Daniel Warren Johnson cover. What I like about this cover is I feel like it masterfully uses stark black and white contrast and a silhouette of Wolverine riddled with arrows to immediately convey vulnerability and a brutal struggle. The iconic claws piercing through the arrows creates a visceral and memorable image, hinting at his resilience despite overwhelming odds. Any Wolverine fan would be lucky to have this in their collection. It's a beautiful representation of this character on this book, and I can't wait for one to add this to my collection. And I think it would look pretty sweet as a print framed on your wall, signed with a nice white signature right across the bottom there. Would really pop. Our first worst cover of the week offering from Marvel this week comes to us in the way of Ultimate Wolverine #4, Delino Yu Ultimate Special cover. Look, I don't like this cover for its cluttered composition where the character's face is partially obscured by the prominent sword, hindering immediate recognition and the emotional connection. The stark lightning and contrasting elements, while intended to be dramatic, create a visual imbalance that detracts from the clear focal point of the overall impact, which is supposed to be magic. Our next offering from Marvel for best and worst cover of the week comes to us in the form of a best cover on Superior Avengers #1, the Joshua Cassara cover. This cover's brilliance lies in its minimal and conceptual intriguing approach. This cover's brilliance lies in its minimalist and conceptually intriguing approach. The juxtaposition of the iconic Doctor Doom figure with his seemingly simplistic, almost childlike representation of his mask creates a compelling visual paradox, hinting at a deeper theme of ego, identity, and perhaps even vulnerability beneath the formidable exterior. I cannot wait to own this cover this is a beautiful Doctor Doom, as we are in the year of Doctor Doom. Throughout this year, with the release of Fantastic Four First Steps and all of the casting announcements we're getting for Avengers Doomsday 2025-2026 is definitely the year of Doctor Doom, and I can't wait to see what more Doom covers we get from Marvel on future books moving forward. Then we have our first offering in the worst cover of the week category, and that goes to this Iron Man #7 David Lopez Marvel Comics Presents cover. I don't like this cover. I feel like this cover presents as a visually unengaging and static scene of Iron Man casually reading in flight, lacking dynamicism or a clear narrative hook. The awkward pose, indistinct, dimly lit cityscape below fails to create excitement or convey a sense of action or conflict, resulting in an almost forgettable image. I feel like it's a cover that you could look past and forget that it was even released. All right, we finally have a book in Marvel here that had many cover offerings this week, and it's Godzilla vs. Hulk #1. We've been getting a lot of these Godzilla versus books recently, and now it's time for us to get Godzilla vs. Hulk. So we have the A cover, we have this Lee Garbett version variant, B cover. Then we have a Nick Bradshaw Monsters homage variant as a C cover. We have this Leonardo Romero Godzilla King of the Monsters homage variant for our D cover. Then we have a Scott Koblish classic variant E cover. This Paco Diaz variant as an F cover. A Stonehouse variant G cover, and an Ed McGuinness foil variant H cover. Then we do have two incentives on this. We have a 1 in 25 Andre Bersin variant and a 1 in 100 Stonehouse Virgin variant. And on this, there were multiple covers. I'll be honest with you, I really don't like any of the covers on this book, except for maybe 1 or 2. I think most of the covers on here are lacking in their depiction of Godzilla or Hulk and how epic this battle should be. But with that said, I digress. And I picked my best cover of the week. Goes to this Leonardo Romero Godzilla King of Monsters homage variant. I feel like this cover is one of the only ones that delivers imminent impact through its dynamic and visceral depiction of a colossal clash between Godzilla and the Hulk. The vibrant contrast in colors and the raw power conveyed in the poses and expressions creates instant excitement, clearly communicating to the core of conflict and promising a high-stakes, action-packed story. My worst cover of the week goes to this Scott Koblish classic cover. The cover suffers from a visually chaotic composition, cramming too many elements, including tanks, soldiers, speech bubbles, and both gigantic characters into a confined space. The busyness diminishes the impact of the central conflict and makes it difficult for the viewer to focus on a clear narrative or point of interest, as well as who is that in the background? Is that Godzilla? This does not feel like Godzilla to me. This does not scream Godzilla. If the name Godzilla wasn't in the title or on this giant word bubble, I would not think that that's Godzilla. That's like Temu Godzilla. That's just a Godzilla toy you would find at a dollar store. It's Whozilla. It just does not scream Godzilla to me, and I feel like it was a giant miss on what could have been a beautiful action-packed cover. And that takes us to our next best cover of the week. We have Star Wars Legacy of Vader #3, the Stephanie Hans variant. I feel like this cover's strength lies in its dynamic use of color and light, with the fiery reds and oranges contrasting sharply with the dark figure of Kylo Ren, emphasizing his imposing presence and the destructive legacy hinted at in this title. The dynamic pose and the iconic lightsaber immediately conveys power and conflict, creating a visually striking and thematically resonant image. Coming up next, we have Web of Venomverse Fresh Brains #1 Derek Chu cover. I love the use of the yellow to contrast the back and the grass in the background. We get a depiction of what potentially is the all-new Venom or a new character in this book. The multiple tongues, the use of shading, the realism of the grass almost. It just feels like a really great offering and a terrifying cover to add to your collection if you're a Venom fan. Next best cover of the week we have from Marvel is Power Man Timeless #3. This David Yarden cover. The greatness stems from its dynamic composition, placing Power Man in a powerful forward-moving stance against a backdrop of a visually striking, fiery dragon. The contrasting colors and energy effects create a sense of immediate action and high stakes, effectively conveying the timeless concept with a blend of modern, heroic, and mythical elements. Let me know in the comment section below. Are you picking up Power Man Timeless? Are you reading Power Man Timeless? What do you think of this book? And what cover for this book are you looking forward to more this week? And that's it for our offerings from Marvel. Like I said, not a lot of offerings as far as comic variants go this week. But next up, we're going to move right into our independent books. Kicking us off for our independents, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #8. Listen, Jason Aaron's is absolutely killing this book. If you are not reading Ninja Turtles right now, you need to stop what you're doing. Go to your local comic shop and pick up issues 1 through 8 because this run has been absolutely fantastic. And not only is Jason Aaron's killing it with his storytelling, Juan Ferreira is absolutely killing it with his art. Sorry again if I butchered that name. I feel like his art is the perfect complement to Aaron's storytelling ability that makes this one of the must-read books of 2025 right now. Starting us off, we have this A cover. We do have a Kevin Eastman B cover, because what would a Turtles book be without the father of the Turtles, Kevin Eastman, or I should say co-father of the Turtles, Kevin Eastman, giving you a cover offering in a fashion that only Kevin Eastman can. Then we have our C cover, this beautiful Juan Ferreira variant. I love this cover right here. And we also have this Muhammad Ashar variant for a D cover. And then we have a Karan Randolph, sorry for butchering that, E variant there with that Leonardo with the striking blue background and the oddly placed hand in his sword, I guess conceptualizing the importance of the katana to Leonardo and his personality. We do have a couple incentive covers here. We have this 1 in 10 Oliver Ono F cover. We do have a 1 in 25 Nikola Cheminja, I killed that one, variant. And then we have an H cover, a 1 in 50 Justin Mason variant. I do like that Justin Mason variant a lot, but it is a 1 in 50. So it's going to be a little bit harder to find because I don't know how many stores are ordering 50 copies of the book, because I feel like this book is criminally being undervalued as far as what Jason Aaron's is providing on Turtles right now. My best cover of the week when it comes to Turtles is the Juan Ferreira cover. This cover is great due to its dynamic composition, utilizing the turtle shell as a framing device to showcase multiple characters and create a sense of fractured unity and impending conflict. The intense red background amplifies the tensions, while the varied character expressions and the looming threat of the Foot Clan establishes a compelling narrative at a glance that should make you excited to pick up this issue and let you know that things are really about to drop. And I love how all 4 turtles are represented and April are represented in this cover in Donatello's shell. You got Mikey, Leo, and the body of Raph right there. Beautiful cover that I'm 100% picking up when I pick up my issue of Turtles #8 in stores this Wednesday. And the worst cover of the week this week is that Kevin Eastman cover. I hate to do it because I love Kevin Eastman, and I feel like Kevin Eastman's styles really accentuates turtle covers and works on Turtles because he is the father of Turtles. It's the art style that started it all. But as far as the other covers that go with this book this week, I feel like this is a cover that is lacking the most. I feel like this cover suffers from a conflicting, overlaying, busy composition, making it difficult to discern the action in individual characters clearly. I mean, yeah, you can tell it's Leonardo and Donatello, but why are they fighting each other? It leaves a lot of questions that potentially might not pay off in the book. I haven't read the issue yet. I'm not getting mine till Wednesday, but this is kind of my first feel here is I understand that through the story of this book, These characters have been in conflict with each other, but what what is going on right now? Are we on a rooftop? Is it on a brick wall? It feels very, I don't know, a lot of questions on what's going on with the cover. The dark, muted color palette further obscures the details. The lack of a clear focal point diminishes the overall visual impact and narrative suggestions. Like I said, just not one of the best cover offerings on this book this week, as great as all the other covers are. Then we have Spawn, King Spawn to be exact, 44. This Bjorn Fernandez variant. Listen, I said last week, tell me a person who reads Spawn, or is it just the covers? And I feel like this cover is no different, and that's why it's on one of the best covers. I feel like this cover has an unsettling balance, and it lies in its darkly humorous and disturbing imagery, subverting Easter tropes with a gore-tastic character, meticulously decorating bloodied eggs. This unexpectedly creates a memorable and intriguing visual that promises a uniquely twisted narrative within King Spawn. Moving on from King Spawn, we're going to move right into Conan the Barbarian number 20, the Templesmith cover. This cover makes the worst cover of the week this week because it suffers from composition that lacks clear focus and dynamicism, with the figures awkwardly posed against a generic space background. The unclear power dynamic and somewhat static interactions between the characters fail to generate excitement and effectively convey the barbarian nature suggested by the title. And who is that man? Is that Conan? You can't tell. You can't tell that that's Conan. It just doesn't work. This cover just does not work for me. But from one cover that doesn't work to me going into a cover that absolutely works, we have Red Coat number 11, an Hagli variant. This cover is great due to its striking visual concept, a character in a historically red coat, uniform, seated on a throne constructed of modern firearms. This immediately is intriguing and thought-provoking, suggesting themes of historical conflict, the evolution of warfare, and perhaps a commentary on the power and violence across time. Anybody reading Redcoats? What do you think of Redcoats? I'm specifically not reading this book right now. I hear great things, but it's just, I didn't really want to get invested in the Ghost Machine stuff, so I have not been picking up Redcoats. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of Redcoats number 11 and the story so far, and if you'll be picking up this book. Another best cover of the week offering to us from the Spawn universe is Deadly Tales of Gunslinger Spawn number 5. Marco Felia. I feel like this cover masterfully employs shadow and a limited color palette to create a mysterious and forbidden atmosphere, perfectly benefiting the Gunslinger title. Stark contrast highlights the central figure and the smoking gun, immediately conveying danger and action, while the obscured facts add an element of intrigue to the unknown. Now that's it for our independents. Now we're going to do some honorable mentions. And of course, honorable mentions are those books that are from any publisher out there that I think are either really good or really bad. And our first honorable mention this week comes to us from Grim Fairy Tales 95, the Sonia Matas variant. I love this cover due to its striking use of contrasting hot and cold colors, which immediately draws the eye and creates a visually dynamic image. The elegant yet seductive pose of the central figure, combined with the implied mystery of the coffin setting, generates intrigue and effectively conveys a blend of beauty and macabre, fitting for a potential horror or fantasy theme. But that's not all we have from Grim Fairy Tales this week, as we have another Grim Fairy Tales cover for 95, this Joshua Burns variant. This cover is great because its striking composition, which places the central figure prominently against a backdrop of skulls, immediately establishing a dark fantasy or horror theme. The character's confident pose and intense gaze, combined with the contrasting colors of her attire and eerie background, create a visually captivating and intriguing image, not to mention just one overall badass cover. Next up, we have I Lie Popeye number 4, the Marcus Williams cover. This cover's greatness lies in its dynamic composition, placing a classic instantly recognizable character like Popeye in a modern action-oriented context with a menacing stylized villain. The vibrant color contrast and Popeye's determined expression create immense visual intensity and intrigue, suggesting a fresh and exciting take on this beloved character. But that's it. That is all our best and worst covers of the week we have for this week. Like I said, it is a lighter week as far as variants go. So we give you some offerings from DC, some offerings from Marvel that had several covers to pick from that weren't just one or two. So I could give you a fair and balanced best and worst covers. I gave you, I feel like, fair and balanced reasonings behind why I like the covers and why I dislike the covers this week. And let me know in the comment section below what covers you're picking up this week, what books you're reading, what is getting you into those comic shops. If you like this content and you want to see about covers that came out last week or anything else we do on this channel, make sure to click one of the options for other videos here you have at the end of this video. And if you like this content and what we're doing here, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure to click that bell so you have notifications on so you know when we upload any video here, whether it's wrestling, best and worst covers of the week, the main flagship podcast, or Saturday night special. So for this week's episode, that'll do it for this week's episode of Best and Worst Covers of the Week. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. I hope you pick up lots of great books on New Comic Book Day, and we'll see you all at the spinner rack.